Comic-Cons have officially reopened. The question is, are you ready? Stay tuned for some of my best survival tips to make sure that you're getting the most out of your Comic-Con experience. Hello everyone and welcome to Married with Comics. I'm your host Laura. Now we are going to do two separate videos. This first one is going to be more of a quick tip tutorial on how to kind of prepare for and enjoy Comic-Con. Second video is going to be Scott and myself, and we are going to talk more about Comic-Con as a married couple, some of the ups and downs, and tips for those of you who want to bring your wife to the Comic-Con for the first time. Before we get started with some of the awesomeness, just wanted to announce we're having a 500 subscriber giveaway, so if you want to qualify for this amazing comic book that is remarked and signed, after the credits, there is a video explaining how to qualify for it. Basically, subscribe, comment, like, share. Let's get on to the good stuff. One of the first things that I think is absolutely essential before you even start buying tickets is making sure that you're picking the right Comic-Con. So if you are interested in celebrities, if you're more interested in comic book guests, if you want like those huge San Diego Comic-Con experiences, make sure you're picking the right con for what you're looking for. If this is your first Comic-Con, if you want to go to San Diego Comic-Con as your first Comic-Con, wow, talk about setting the bar high. But I do typically recommend more of kind of a medium-sized Comic-Con for your very first one, just because you'll get a little bit of everything, and then you can kind of start seeing what you really want and enjoy. Another easy way to tell if this is the Comic-Con for you, go up on their website, and before you buy any tickets, go to the guests section and take a look and see if maybe there are some faces that you are interested in seeing, getting signatures from, or hearing a panel. They will, of course, continue announcing guests up to about a week before Comic-Con. So be prepared. There will be times where big guests will cancel. So make sure you're not going to this particular Comic-Con for one guest in case they are the one that cancels at the last minute. The other big thing is about a week or two before Comic-Con is when they'll start scheduling all the panels. They do make amendments, of course, as guests come and go. They should have a pretty good game plan of when the competitions will take place, when the panels will be, and certainly when you can get signatures from certain guests. Make sure to print that out or figure out some way to organize exactly what it is that you're looking for. So that way you have a specific game plan, because one of the things that I do not want to do is get to Comic-Con where it is a unique experience, and instead of getting to enjoy what you've been waiting so long for, you're spending all your time staring at the schedule going, oh my gosh, I just missed that panel. Don't do that to yourself. Have a game plan, have an idea of, okay, I can spend the next 4 hours looking at all the different artist gallery options, or I have to be at this panel, this panel, this panel, then I can take a break for lunch. Make sense? Comfortable shoes. I cannot emphasize this enough. You must wear comfortable shoes. Please. Your feet will thank you. You can thank me later. Just make sure, because you will be walking and standing an awful lot. So just make sure these are your tried and true, tested shoes. Next thing is a bag, because you are going to make a lot of purchases at Comic-Con. Even if you're not a big spender, you're going to buy something. There are too many amazing, cool, unique things at Comic-Con that you're going to go home with something. And sure, they're going to give you a plastic bag, but after a while, it gets heavy. So you want to have a bag with you. Now, I love my Harry Potter bag, except this shoulder strap is going to get heavy, and it's going to be a little obnoxious to kind of have an extra sort of depth to you. Especially in some cons, the aisles can be a little narrow. So the best way to carry all of your stuff is actually with a backpack. So you can use a traditional backpack, or you can use one of these that has, the little rope straps. Only tip that I have is, if possible, so like this one has a zipper pocket in the front, and then of course you have the main pocket in the back. If you have that sort of breakdown, it's easy to get to if you want to pull up the last minute guide, if you want to grab any quick sheets of paper or anything that you wanted to read through while you were waiting in line. It's easier to get it from a little zipper bag than it is to dig through the whole bag. Now, some of you are already preparing your comment, and don't do it because you're saying, well, wait a second, you've got this flimsy bag and I want to buy comic books. My comic books are never going to survive through that. That's why you bring one of these. This is a comic collecting case. So you can fit up to, I think it's 12 single issues that you can fit in this. You can either leave them loose or they can be bagged and boarded. And then it closes up like a book. It looks super cool. But this will protect it a lot better than your book bag. And you want something like this, period, just to protect everything and to keep it from bending potentially in your bag. Just be aware, at most of the Comic-Con events, it is a bit more rare to find books that are not bagged and boarded. So at least you will have some semblance of protection. However, having this on top of it means that you can quickly get to your single issues in your bag, but it also means that you know, no matter what else you stuff into that bag, your comics are protected. You can buy these at your LCS, or you can get them on Amazon. Lunch. I know, apparently I'm the only one who thinks about food here, but at Comic-Con, you're spending a lot of money, and I don't mind because all of it's going back to the artists and the creators and those individuals that I'm like, absolutely, I want to give my money to you. What drives me nuts is when a major manufacturing company of fast food orientation comes in and instead of charging, you know, like $1 or $2 a slice of pizza, instead it's a little teeny tiny pan pizza that's only cheese or pepperoni, and they charge $10. And if you've got multiple people with you, you are spending a ton of money on lunch. And that's not even including a beverage. You look at the prices and you look at the options that are available at some of these cons, there's no reason to be paying these ridiculous prices. Instead, I'd much rather be giving my money to the vendors and the artists and the comic book writers and everything else. So for me, what I do is I pack a lunch. I leave it in the car. It's in a cooler. It can be either sandwiches, I brought chicken salad before, basically anything that you could bring to a picnic, that's what you leave in the car. The other big thing that I do is whenever we're going to go get our food from the cooler, is I offload our bag in the car. So that way I don't have to carry it around anymore. There are certain options. So if you're going to stay at Comic-Con like the full 12 hours, it's never a bad idea to kind of step off grounds and, you know, maybe go out to dinner. But typically during that like 10 to 4 time frame tends to be when all the best panels and activities are going on. So you normally don't want to be stuck waiting for someone to, you know, make your lunch. And like I said, it's very convenient to have lunch at Comic-Con. For me, I'm just like, I'd rather spend the $20 somewhere else. So I pack a lunch. Panels are absolutely my favorite part about Comic-Con. The big thing is make sure you go early. The first thing you're going to notice when you step into a room for panel interviews is that every single person sits close to the doors. So if you want to be able to see the guest speaker, go to the far side of the room and move right up. The seats will be available. It certainly worked for the Kevin Eastman panel. Now, this applies sometimes, typically for smaller panels. So if you're not sure if this is going to work, before you go into the room, ask the volunteer that's standing outside. Ask them, do you clear the room before the next panel starts? And if they say yes, then go find something else to do or wait in line. If not, go about 20 to 30 minutes before your next panel starts. Sneak into the back of the room, but make sure to get one of the very last seats so that way you're not interrupting anyone. But as soon as that panel's over and everyone grabs their bag and moves, beeline it to your front row seats. I've done it many times and it works like a charm. At a like I said, medium or bigger size Comic-Con, your booths will include everything. So you will have, yes, traditional artists that do sketching, ink work, painting, of comic book characters. But you will also have steampunk, you will have metal work, you will have leather working. There was a woman who did a Daredevil stained glass window, and then she had the actor who played Daredevil on Netflix. He signed one of the glass panes. Seriously cool. If there is something in particular that you see, you're like, I have to have that, grab it. And especially grab it on the very first day you're going to Comic-Con. Now, Scott and I, we go Friday, Saturday, Sunday, typically. If you're only going for one day, get your shopping done as early as possible because it will sell out. For us, we do all of our shopping on Friday because by Saturday and Sunday, when all the crowds start to arrive, it's gone and it disappears so quickly. However, if there's something that you're interested in but don't have to have, you can do your bargaining on Sunday. So Artist Alley, which has had some of the most beautiful pieces. I don't think we're ever going to be able to display all of them at one time, but the prints are gorgeous. Most booths will have a special, so if you buy more than one item, there's typically a discount. If they do not list a discount, feel free to ask. Because normally if you're buying multiple products, they're going to cut you a deal. Signatures. So I know most of you are wanting to get signatures on whether it is comic books, cool collectibles, completely understand. Now, if you want to get a specific comic book signed, don't buy it at Comic-Con. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but if you are buying it at Comic-Con, they know the demand is there because who on earth is going to go up on eBay and purchase something knowing that it will ship and not arrive until way after Comic-Con and your celebrity is no longer available? So at Comic-Con, they raise all the prices. The LCSs in the area will do the same, knowing that people will go to them, try and get certain titles, certain covers, go get a signature. So plan ahead. For instance, Joelle Jones is coming to GalaxyCon at the end of July. I have already found my copy of Lady Killer, issue number 1. I have enough time in advance to get it pressed and ready to go. There will be an option at the con if I want to get that comic book pressed. So do your research if you're looking for specific collectibles. If you're looking for a unique find, you want something that kind of represents the character, but maybe is something that no one else will ever have. That is what you should buy at Comic-Con. For instance, what I wanted was a signature from a different celebrity, which I'm not going to tell you who it was, but I got it. It's gorgeous. It's unique. When I saw that, I ended up getting the companion to it, which is Sherlock. So this is, of course, a record where they've cut out the image, and there's plenty of space over here on the record for Benedict Cumberbatch to sign someday. So this is something that I never would have walked into Comic-Con and said, I have to have this and I need Benedict Cumberbatch's signature on this. It never would have crossed my mind. But I will say that when I purchased the other one that's already signed and I gave it to the celebrity who has seen thousands of items to be signed, even they were like, oh, that's cool. So if you're looking for that item, shop at Comic-Con. Definitely. Cosplay. If you are interested in cosplaying, there are literally no limits. So there's nothing that says that you must portray a comic book character. It can be a character from general fiction. It can be a popular movie. It could be a character that you have created. I have seen interpretations of different characters. So let's say you wanted to create Captain Jack Sparrow meets Captain America and make this new Captain America. Oh, you could. And it would be seriously cool. Everyone would love it. If you can make your own costumes, it's a bonus and everyone will appreciate the handiwork that went into it. If you go on over to a Halloween shop and you get something that's off the rack, it's still going to be appreciated and loved. Now, you can go to Comic-Con wearing anything that's appropriate, but everyone is welcome. It is that kind of atmosphere. So if you feel brave enough to cosplay, you are definitely welcome. It does not matter your age, shape, body style, ethnicity, or how true it is to the original character. Every personal creative outlet is encouraged. The last thing that is probably the most important, but is also kind of the most sensitive, etiquette. Now, you are literally going to be surrounded by some of the coolest people that you will ever meet. I have started some amazing conversations at Comic-Con. I have met people who have been to Comic-Cons their entire life. I have met people who have been to Comic-Con their first time. You have people who are diehard comic book fans, and you have people who have never opened up a comic book before in their life. There's no turning your nose up at someone because of their level or lack of knowledge. Instead, everyone is welcome because this is a new fan or someone who's appreciating something else that you appreciate too. So there's kind of this camaraderie that comes from Comic-Con that I absolutely love. It's almost like we are the ultimate island of misfit toys. So you will meet some of the most polite and considerate people. One perfect example, I was at a Q&A, and of course at the end they always give the announcement that says, last question. And there was a girl who she started to cry and she was shaking. She was so excited to give this question. She didn't want to give up this opportunity and she didn't know what to do, so she just started to cry. And the 5 people in front of her turned around, saw how upset she was, and let her go in front. No one sat there and screamed and talked about cutting lines and how important it was that they get their item first. Instead, everyone put their own personal needs behind and said, this is more important, let her go first. And that's what I mean by Comic-Con etiquette. So don't be that person that gets in line at Comic-Con, because we're all in line, and huffs and puffs and gets obnoxious about there being a line. You're going to Comic-Con, there will be lines. Enjoy it. Bring a book. Or if not, what I always do is I buy a book and then I sit there in line and I'll read, and when I'm not reading, I'm talking. Have a little bit of fun. Talk to the people around you. The other thing to kind of be aware of, it's happened. I've definitely heard multiple experiences that other people have had with some of the celebrities that they have met. Not every celebrity is as wonderful as we picture them to be when we see them on camera, film, or we read their names on a comic book. Just because they act like a jerk doesn't mean that you have to too. So I understand, I absolutely understand how disappointing it is, but at the same time, that's why I will always support those artists and creators that give back to the fans and instead go that extra mile. So try not to let someone's negativity spoil your time, and instead focus in on the amazing people you're going to see there, because there are plenty of them. So that's it. That is my absolute survival guide. If you follow these tips and you kind of follow some of these recommendations, you're going to have an amazing time at Comic-Con. What, of course, I want to know is, which one was your very first Comic-Con? Down in the comments. And what is the next Comic-Con you're planning to attend? This is Laura from Married with Comics, and I will see you all again very soon. Have a great day.